everyone, Pam Savage with Young at Heart Creations. I am ready to paint. Let's paint Mr. Santa, Mr. Claus. How many different names are there for Santa in different countries? There's Kris Kringle. Oh my goodness, I can't get into all that. I don't know German names, whatever. But this is what we're going to paint today. And it started out as a Dollar General, or Dollar Tree, not Dollar General, Dollar Tree heart back in February. But I was going to have a party with them, a paint party. Hi, Lori. St. Nick. Yes, okay. All right. Y'all put as many Santa Claus names as you can think of on here. And that reminds me of the movie Santa Claus with Tim, what's his name in it? But how many things he came up with when they were asking him what his name was. But so see how many you can come up with. But it started out like this. And so this one, I painted the back of it. I took the love off and painted the back of it, but I decided on this one, I'm just going to leave it the same, like it was on the back. That way they can, I'm going to leave the little string with it that you can put back in. That way they'll have a to-be. They'll have a Santa for Christmas, and they'll have a love heart for February. So I decided to leave it. Yes, Tim Allen. My brain's kind of foggy today. So that's what we're going to paint tonight. This one, I did go ahead and add, I don't know if you can see it or not or tell, but he's got a lot of glitter in his beard and on his hat for the fur. I decided to go ahead and glitter it a little bit. I have already Mod Podged him, so he's just about ready to go. I just need to put a hanger on him. Now this thin wood that you get at Dollar Tree and Dollar General, it is really thin, and you can't use the staplers. The staples that we use on our regular wood. It would just go right through it. So I just hot glue whatever I'm going to put, ribbon or jute. I just use the hot glue on it. So if you're on here, I know I've got some that are supposed to be newbies on here tonight that we're going to watch. So be sure and say hi. Let me know if this is your first time and tell me where you're from. And we would love to say hi and chat with you. Hi, Jean. So let's go ahead and get started on this guy. I did go ahead and base coat. Now on this one, I pounced with just a scruffy brush. I just pounced his beard and his fur on, and that's what we'll do with the fur tonight. But I'm going to try something a little different on his beard tonight, to use a rake brush. We haven't used that before. But before we get started on that, I have not read a scripture in a long time, or a thought for the day, so I wanted to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to be reading, if you want to go back later on and read it, Hebrews 4 and verse 12, and it says, "For the word of God is living and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the division of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart." You know, God knows our heart. He knows our thoughts even before we do. It's a very powerful book, God's Word. And just a thought on that, you know, many books can inform you. They can give you information. You can get information from almost any book. But the Bible, God's Word, is the only book that can transform you. So other books will inform you. The Bible is in God's Word and plan. That's the only book that can transform you. So just thought that was a little good little thought for the day. And I just love little things when we come across it like that. And it helps me just to kind of keep my mind in gear with thoughts like that. So let's go ahead and do Christmas in July. I've got Christmassy here, and I've got Christmas hanging on the wall already. Hey, I can do Christmas any time of the year. I love Christmas. But again, my name is Pam Savage, and I'm with Young at Heart Creations. I love to paint, love to create things, but more than that, I love to teach others how to do it. And so, you know, we got to carry this on with the young people. And painting is such a therapeutic hobby to have. And so I'm always trying to share that with any age. Okay, so we're going to start out. I'm going to go ahead and base coat his face. And for that, I'm using Deco Art Natural Buff. It just makes a real pretty It almost looks white, but it's not. It's got just a tiny little pink flesh tone to it. Hi, Jacqueline. And Miss Vicki, hello from Clinton, Alabama. Well, I've had a lot from Alabama on here lately. Is this your first time on, Vicki? The comments go by so fast, sometimes I miss names, but I do try to go back and read the comments and reply to you. Guys, I got 5 more followers this week. I am at 480 followers. Woohoo! Thank you so much for sprinkling all the videos and helping me get there. 20 away from 500 followers. I know that's just a drop in the bucket to some that have thousands of followers, but I am super thankful for it and very proud of it. And oh, well, great, Vicki. So good to have you on here. So once I get to 500, y'all know every time I get to 100 increments, I send out some happy mail. We'll draw a name and send out some happy mail to somebody that's on here commenting. And Jean is from Northeast Georgia. We just got them from everywhere, don't we? Well, that's wonderful. I had somebody from Florida the other day. I did send out Peggy Wilson's happy mail yesterday. She should be getting that package any day. Once she gets that, I'll post and show you what we sent. But I do need to, before we get started, remind you about the live event, the painters event that we're having on August the 28th. If we get 16 more people, I need 16 more people, 15 or 16, I need to look at the list, to make that happen. But it will be August the 28th. There's stuff on here that you can scroll down and look at, or you can go to my website, youngatheartcreations.com, click on events, and it'll have the information there. We are going to be painting a Christmas and a fall project, possibly one more project, but we will have a little bit of time that we're going to just practice on some different strokes maybe that you've never done. We'll have a photo booth. I'm going to have a craft booth set up with stuff. Let me show you this stuff all over my walls. I've got stuff hanging everywhere. But they're like 4 and 5 deep on the hooks, and then I've got some that are not even hanging on the wall. But I will have a craft booth with all of that there. The grand prize, door prize, should your name be drawn for that, is a Cricut machine. So keeping my fingers crossed that it makes. It is going to be from 9 o'clock to 7 o'clock that Saturday, just a one day, and that includes 2 meals. It's $135. That includes 2 meals. That includes the projects that we're going to do. You're going to have a goodie bag full of stuff. So just lots of fun, and get our picture made together and just finally get to meet each other face to face. So fingers crossed that it makes. August the 1st is the deadline. If you bring a friend, or if you get someone else to register that you refer, then you will get an extra ticket for every person that you get to refer, that pay and register and put your name as a referral. That's an extra ticket. So if you refer 5 people, you'll get 5, well, you'll actually get 6 because of your ticket in that drawing for the Cricut. And if you are the first person to get 5 people to sign up, whether you're coming or not, you will get one of my painted sunflowers. So, all right, already enough about business, but even if you can't come, please let others know. I've got so many that said, hey, I didn't even know about it. So I've been handing out flyers, but some people don't get on Facebook all the time, or they don't follow me. So if you would just let them know about it, it'd be a great mother-daughter day. Be a great coworker if you have 4 or 5 coworkers, or a church group of ladies. We're just going to have a great day. So fingers crossed that it makes, and we will have a good time regardless. Okay, hi Miss Ashley. Oh, I'm precious. Well, thank you. You just made my day. All right, so let's get some natural buff. And I can't remember if it took 2 coats or not. And I just painted him 3 days ago, and I already can't remember. I don't even remember exactly which brushes I use, so we'll just go for it. Now, next week I will be on vacation. going to Laurel, Mississippi to see the hometown of Ben and Aaron on Hometown, the show where they flip houses. So we're excited about that. I will do my best to get on live with you and show you some things if I get to go in their store. Let's see, tomorrow will be Wednesday. Thursday, I will have a couple of special guests on here. We won't be painting, but I have at least one surprise guest and possibly two. So not going to give that away yet, but anyway, just wanted you to know that. We'll hop on here. And I'm amazed at how many PC sisters, and you guys that are PC sisters know what that means, that live so close, just within driving distance, that could come, you know, to the event and just have a fun day meeting each other. Okay, so I'm going to bring you down here, and I'll try to come back up and down and see your comments. But if I don't catch your comments, I will go back and read them. I was just watching your floral vine on the back of a clipboard. Okay. All right, Ashley. Let's see. Are you with? I've got somebody that I've been watching that's Oh So Darling. I think that's her business name. So I'm not sure what her name is, but I think it's Oh So Darling. I'm not sure if that's, but I don't think that's you. But thank you for watching that. I just had 2 videos hit over 500 views. So that just excites me so much. All right, let's get down here and get to painting. I have gone ahead and just free-handed his little face on, or the pattern, just kind of a general pattern. And you can certainly go through and trace something if you, you know, with a pattern with the carbon paper. But this one, I just kind of free-handed him on. And so it's not going to be exactly like the other one, but that's perfectly okay with me. So I drew it with pencil, and then I went back and kind of erased the pencil lines just enough to where I can see them. For you newbies that are on here, I live in Sherman, Texas. I'm about 50 miles north of Dallas. I'll be 63 years old in November. I am not a technically minded person, so I don't have Procreate. I would love to, but I don't have those programs. Everything that I have on my website is hand-drawn, but I've sold a lot of the templates on that website. So I call it my senior citizen website because I don't have anything really technical on there. Now that I've kind of got that outline done, I'm going to switch to a little bit larger angle brush. It's an angle brush because it does just that. It goes down to an angle. This helps you get into corners and along the lines. It's flat this way, but on the chisel edge it goes down to an angle. When you have an angle brush, the tallest part is called the toe, the back part is called the heel. Okay, so I'm going to load it on both sides here. And I do get my bristles just a little bit moist depending on what I'm painting. I'm also a directional painter. I turn my piece a lot, so I apologize if you get dizzy. I have a plastic tablecloth under a clear shower curtain, so that helps me to keep my tablecloth pretty and clean. And then I have this it's a corrugated board like you would put for sale, for garage sale, or for sale sign on. I have it here. It's washable. I use this to teach at my paint parties. I paint on it and show them the techniques, how to do it. And it's worked out really great because it's really easy to wash off. And that way they can kind of see what I'm doing, especially if I've got a large party. It helps me to just have it up front rather than, and I do still walk around, go to each table, but that helps when we're all doing the same thing at the same time. It just really helps. So we are leaving for Mississippi this Sunday, right after church, and we'll worship down there once we get there for the nighttime service. I'm not sure which congregation it'll be yet. My husband's already scoped it out, but and we will be gone all week. We'll come back the following Saturday. My daughter's going to be house sitting. Her and her dog will be, grand dog will be house sitting for us. The contractors will still be here. Those of you that have just gotten on for the first time, we're having a bathroom remodel upstairs. I'm upstairs, and the bathroom that's being remodeled is on the opposite wall where I showed you where everything was hanging up. The bathroom is on the other side of that wall, so it gets very, very noisy when they're here. We had it completely gutted and took out the bathtub and putting in a shower, and they took it down to the studs. So they just got the sheetrock back up today, and they will start texturing it tomorrow, and then I think the next step will be putting the new floors in. So it's been fun around here. But we're getting close to having it done. I was hoping they would be done by the time we went on vacation, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. Okay, let me dry his face right quick, and then we'll put a second coat on it. When I dry it, I use heat to dry it, just a regular hair dryer. I get it dry, hot, but then I have a little button right here that changes it to cold air because I don't want to paint on hot paint because it can cause it to pull up. So I cool it down for just a few seconds as well. Okay, let me get a little piece of paper sack. Actually, we'll use some wax paper. That's another tip that I can give you is when you paint something for the first time, it kind of makes the wood raise and it's a little bit rough. So if you'll just take wax paper like you use in the kitchen, or a piece of paper sack with no writing or anything on it, and just rub over it. It will smooth it right out. And you can use it several times. But it really, really makes it smooth. All right, let's put one more coat on it. And then we'll move on to the hat. Now I did add just a little bit of moisture. This paint was really thick for some reason. And I noticed that when I used it a couple of days ago doing this other one. Some of my paints I've had for a long, long time. And I just keep adding blending gel or something. If they start getting a little thick, I'll just add some of that blending gel to it and shake it up and get a little more out of it. Okay, I know you probably can't see those pencil marks because they are so light. Okay, let's let his face dry, and let's go ahead and get some red on his hat because it will take a couple of coats as well. I love to use for Santa's, it's Deco Art tomato red. Also the true red is good, but I like the tomato red. It just gives a really rich red, and usually a couple of coats, and that's all it takes. I always try to squeeze a little less out than what I think I'm going to need, because you can always add to it. I've got 3 or 4 projects that I want to do with you when I get back. I have not decided which one I'm going to do the Tuesday when we get back. Having to pace myself because I want to do all of them in one week. But then I run out of things to do to paint for you. Well, I don't think I'd ever run out of anything. I've got so many unfinished projects that I can sit down and do, should be doing. It's just kind of hard to keep up. Okay, so I'm taking the toe, the longest part of that, and just going right along the edge of the face. Just right above the face. And we're going to have fur on it, so you don't have to have a perfect line. You'll know that I don't do anything perfect. On the Oh So Darling live today, she was painting a pretty board with pumpkins and fall leaves. Oh, it was so pretty. Now when I'm doing my edges, very important, if you do your edges and you bring it back towards you, you're going to scrape paint off and it's going to get all on the back side of your piece. I always feather it out away from the piece that from what I'm working on. That way it keeps it from getting on the back. I mean, sometimes you still might have a little bit of issue with it, but it is much, much safer, easier if you do it that way. And I just went over the little cotton ball on the end of his shirt. On the end of his hat. I always, always have my baby wipes. Baby wipes are a painter's best friend. Okay, like it never happened. And then I'll just put it under I always keep a wet cloth. And so I will just put it in that wet cloth. That'll keep it moist if I need it again. And I'm sure I will, because I get to talking and not paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay, for down here in this tight corner, I'm going to put it up on its chisel edge. That means standing it straight up. And just pull it across. Now red is always pretty splotchy, the first coat. And these boards are a little bit rough on the edges. But again, it's a Dollar Tree. Okay, we're going to let that dry on its own for just a moment. And we're going to go here and across here and shade around his face. So for shading, we use the natural buff for the face. So for shading, I'm going to use Gypsy Rose in its Ceram Coat. It makes a real pretty shading for that color. Now for deco art, I think the closest thing, you might have to add a little bit of white to it, would be the Wild Berry. So they're pretty close. Wild Berry is just a little bit darker, but I think it would still work. You might want to add a little bit of white to it, but I think it would do just fine. I've had this bottle forever, and I'm not finding it in on their website or in the store, so I'm thinking they've done away with it. But I've used it forever and really, really enjoy it. Okay, so I kind of like it wet when I'm floating and shading on it, the paint, because it just flows better. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of paint just right under that hat edge just to help it kind of flow when we shade. Okay, and so I'm just going to get, just leave that base color on my brush, and I'm going to dip in that rose color, and we're just going to go right under the edge, and then we'll soften it up where we need to, and then on the hat we'll come back with a darker color as well to separate it even more. I get it just a little bit moist. My hubby's on the phone downstairs. I can tell he's talking to the kids. He usually calls the kiddos and talks. We have 3 boys and 1 daughter. They're all grown, but this is usually his talking to the kids time. Okay, just blending it in. Get some floating medium. I do like to use the blending gel. Folk Art has it, Americana, Deco Art has it, but it's just the paint without the color pigment in it. And it does help your paint to flow when you are, and it doesn't take much, but when you are shading or highlighting, if you'll just get a little bit in your brush, it will help it to flow if you're having trouble. Sometimes the paint or the piece that you're working on might be just a little rough or dry. Okay, just going to come right back over it, blend it out. All right, doesn't look super good yet because the red's so splotchy up there and we haven't done anything to that, but it will. So let's go ahead and get just a little more. Gonna keep it dirty. Dirty just means you're getting that base color on there. And let's go ahead and start making sure that's dry enough to lay my hand on. We'll start at the top of his mustache here. And kind of come back and meet myself here. I'm using a number 10 plaid flat to do my shading with. A little more of that rose color on there. Right up in that corner. Okay, smooth that little ridge out. All right, and let's go ahead and go under where the cotton ball is going to be. We probably will end up going over it with the cotton with the white, but just in case it doesn't cover it all, we'll go ahead and do underneath. And I'm just getting just a little bit on that tip. Kind of soften it up in there a little bit. Okay. You want to be careful to keep the whatever you're shading or highlighting, whatever that color is. Shading is darker than your base coat, highlighting is lighter. So make sure you keep it on the same tip that you're working with, or you'll end up with streaks of the base coat color, of the shading color out here in the middle of the face, and you don't want that. Okay, so let's start about where his mustache ends there. Okay, and be sure and smooth out your color there. If you get a little bit of a ridge on it, just smooth it out. We have not been on a vacation since last year, about, well, we went in March, right before COVID hit. And that's the last time we've really been on a vacation. So we are ready. Okay, just smoothing it out. I'm going to add just a little bit more underneath the hat. Okay, so we pretty much got his face defined there. And we'll come back with the same color and we'll do some cheeks after we do his eyes. But let's go ahead and get a second coat of that red on there. Ashley and Marina and Jacqueline. Well, I'm glad you caught me tonight too. My schedule has been so out of whack with all this remodel going on. I just have to jump on when they're not here. I go ahead and paint when they're here, but as far as going live, it is just so noisy when they're here that it's just almost impossible, and everything on my wall is shaking because they're hammering and sawing and drilling. Kind of got y'all whoppy-jawed there. Hi, Peggy. Let me know when you get your package, Peggy. I just mailed it yesterday, so it'll take it a few days. But all right, so let's go ahead and get some more red. I did put a little more moisture in it. Anybody else been painting Christmas in July? I know there's been a lot of challenges on some pages that I've been seeing things that people have been painting. It's so pretty. You have to try, as a painter, if you're selling, you have to try to stay one step ahead or one season ahead. Okay, thank you, Peggy. Alrighty, Vicki. Okay, I'm sorry, forgot I didn't have you back down here. I'll get you back down here so you can see what we're doing. I'm going to add just a little bit more red. I ran out. Had that red for a while, so it's got some yuck in it. I got some really pretty napkins in that I ordered. They came in. And I'm going to be doing some Mod Podging with you again. We did the clipboards. But we're going to do some Christmas Mod Podging and some fall. Whoops. I pressed down too hard and it went kind of over the line there. Pretty, pretty, pretty red. What color do you use for Christmas? I'm traditional. The reds and the greens, gold, white. I have little white lights on my Christmas tree. I actually think I hear someone in our living room, so I don't know who's here. We don't have the grand dog today. My daughter came back from Wyoming, so she's got her at her house today. Usually if I'm up here doing a live and we have her, she does not like me doing the lives. She wants to be right in the middle of it, and she's always putting something in her mouth, so I have to lock her out, and she does not like that. Okay, see how easy this wipes up? It's so easy. Okay, so I think that's probably going to do it for the red. So let me dry that right quick, and then we will go ahead and shade it. I also did years and years and years ago. What year did I do this? Back in the 1980s, I guess. Anyway, this little heart guy, just a little one, shelf sitter. And it's my mom's, but I was looking at the mouth and everything. Okay, well, I have come a little ways. I've improved a little bit. Okay, it's still just a little bit wet, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and get our shading done on it. And to shade, I'm going to use Rockwood Red. It's almost a burgundy, but it's just enough darker than our base coat red that it shades it very nicely. Doesn't take much. And let me get some of that floating gel on there. You don't want to have it just dripping wet, but you do want to have them saturated a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to show you a different way for those of you that have not been on here before for the shading and highlighting. Okay, this way on the bottom triangle of your flat brush, you put the base coat color. Then on the top in a triangle shape, you put the highlighting or shading color, whichever you're doing, and then you just blend it back and forth. So I'm going to load it a couple of times and blend it back and forth, and you do it that way. So we'll kind of start in the center here. And just right, and then I'm just going to go back and reload and do the same thing, blend it back and forth. You know, actually, it doesn't even matter on this, on the bottom part. I'm going to go ahead and finish it since I did it, because I'm OCD that way. But we're going to have the white fur over that part, but we do need to do it up here on the top of it. because this is going to be covered in the white fur, so it doesn't matter what we do there. It's not going to show. So I'm just blending back and forth. And let's go ahead and just shade the outside here. And you may not can see that on camera, but it does darken it just around the edges. Blend, blend, blend. And depending on what red you're using, if it's still not quite dark enough, you could add just a touch, just a drop of black to it to darken your color. But it's doing just fine on here. I know it's hard for you to see it on camera. You could even go with a darker burgundy if you want it a little bit darker. So we are leaving Sunday. I have company coming Thursday, and we have each month, we celebrate in our family everyone that has a birthday in July. We pick a day and we celebrate all the July birthdays, and we'll either go out to eat or different things, meet somewhere, and all of us get together. Well, this Saturday is all the July birthday celebration, and we're doing it here at our house. So when it's at our house, they expect homemade ice cream. I always make homemade vanilla and homemade cookies and cream. I have to do 2 freezers. One freezer is just not enough. And then we cook out hamburgers and hot dogs. And we just have the best time. Okay, so got that shaded. Let's go ahead and do his mouth. And I'm going to use that same Rockwood red. Let me go ahead and just kind of draw his mouth on. So we're going to make it it's just, his mustache already has the triangle for us. So we're just going to do a little scoop. And then another little scoop for his lip. Okay, now I drew that a little dark just so you could see it, but I'm going to erase it because I don't want it showing through the paint. So I'm going to erase it just enough to where I can see it. Okay, so I'm going to use a liner brush. And it's just a long, skinny brush. This is Royal Majestic. And it's a 5-0 is what it looks like. I think it's actually like Lane Nickel. But just to outline, I'm going to go ahead and load it up with that. And we'll go ahead and get it outlined. The inside is going to be darker. And then we'll put the actual red on his lips. This is the first time I've used this brush, so I wanted to try it out. I'm very picky with my brushes. I have favorites, and so I tend to just grab them all the time, but I've been telling myself, okay, you need to branch out, try some different brands, because my favorite brand, which is Low Cornell, they're just getting harder and harder to find. Now with any brush, but especially the liner brushes, round brushes, the more pressure you put on it, the larger your line's going to be. So if I'm wanting like eyelashes, I'm just going to barely, just not any pressure at all. And look how thin those lines are. Very, very thin. If I want it thicker, then I just press down. Now I will take a couple of coats on it. And I will go back over it with a small flat, just to kind of get rid of those lines. Because the liner brush is not really meant to fill in for you. Let's see if we've got a little tiny little flat. We'll kind of smooth that out. And then we'll come back, I'll dry it, and we'll put a second coat on it. But let's go ahead and get the red before it dries. And this is the red that we did the hat with, so that we can do the lips. So this is the inside of the mouth, and I'm using my finger to kind of guide me. With a liner brush, sometimes it takes a little practice to control it. And I usually don't breathe when I'm doing lining work. Those of you that are on here for the first time, it doesn't always go as planned. If you will go back and watch, scroll down and find my video that says Hot Mess. Let's see, Hot Mess, I don't remember what I was painting. Hot Mess something. Hot Mess Live or something like that. I had an incident and got paint all over me, all over my clothes, all over the piece, all over my wall behind me. It was one of those moments, and it was live, so what can you do? But we made the best of it, and we just went on as if nothing had happened. All right, I'm switching to a little bit thicker round brush. And we'll just go right around the bottom of that inside of the mouth. I've got so many brushes, some that I have not used yet, but I've got some that I've had for literally 15 to 20 years that I still use. Okay, let me see if I can get the inside of the mouth with this brush as well. Almost a brown color, this rockwood. You could also do the inside of his mouth in black. I have done that before on some of my Santas. And then I'm going to just outline the bottom of the lip with that same inside color of the mouth. just to outline it. Just getting it barely on the tip. Just on the tip of the brush. And then we'll outline. Paint had kind of started drying out on me. Okay, and I'm going to make a couple of little, I don't know what you call them, lip lines? I don't know. I really don't know what you call them. I think I need another coat of that red on there. I ordered today, after watching Tamara Bennett's live, I ordered some new glitter, but also it's called, it's Deco Art, and right now Michael's is the only place that you can order it online. I don't even think they have it in the stores yet. But it's called Glitter Base Coat. It makes your glitter come out of the brush and the paint and really stick to the piece that you're working on. And you just get so much more glitter on the piece. And so she did a piece today, and it really, really made a difference. So I'm very anxious to get it and try it, because I do Christmas. Christmas is about the only time I use glitter. Okay, so I'm getting just a drop of white to put a little line on his lip, just a little highlight. Just the very tip. And let's put a little dot. Okay, now with the color that we did shaded his face with, that rose, before that dries, I almost forgot. Let's go ahead and make his nose. So I'm getting some of that floating gel medium in there. And so we're going to want some of the flesh color, and that was the natural buff. And then some of that rose color, and it's almost dry on me, so let me scoop the skim off the top. So I can't get in it, so I had to break it open. Okay, and we're going to just do a half circle for his little nose. Okay, let me kind of clean right here up just a little bit. Just soften it a little. And I'm just twirling it between my pointer finger and my thumb, and letting my little finger kind of guide me. Okay, so it's got a nose now, and a mouth. Let's go ahead and draw some, let's go ahead and do his eyes. Now there are so many ways that you can do the eyes. Hi Marina, you ordered it too? I bet they probably got swamped. Did you watch her video today? I bet they got swamped with orders afterwards. Oh, I've never used the Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. I've not used that. Hi Edie. Hi Karen. And Sheila. Sheila, is this your first time watching? Okay, so these are the way I did his eyes on this one. Just kind of some little ovals. This little guy that I did, how many years ago? Actually think back in the 1980s. But anyway, the little eyes like I do on a lot of things. You could also do his eyes like they were closed. You could just do it like this, and with eyelashes up, make him look like he's laughing. I don't think you can see that on there. Let me get a pen and see if that helps. But you don't always, well, that's not going to show up either, but you don't always have to have open eyes. You can have them closed and he could look jolly. Oh, I know what I can show you. I bought this at a garage sale, and that's a perfect example. I bought it years and years ago, but his eyes are closed. So you can even, even do it like that. You don't have to have open eyes. Oh, I just noticed the mouth is kind of like what we just did, only it's black inside. And they have, looks like they used maybe a cream color for his beard and then put a wash of brown to kind of antique it. I got that for $1 at a garage sale one time. And they've just put it in a picture frame. It's a piece of wood in a picture frame. But I just loved it. It was kind of different. I've got a serving tray that we're going to do something with here really soon. That's going to be cute. I'm still trying to decide exactly what I want to put in it. Okay, I'm going to put you back. Had to laugh about it. Yes, I did. I laughed and just went on. I mean, I said the piece, oh, I know, it was the watermelon piece that I was doing. And I got it on sale at Hobby Lobby for $5. So it was a very inexpensive piece that ended up being a very expensive piece because it cost me a brand new shirt and mess. I had to clean the walls, clean my curtains. I have a closet right here beside me, and I just have curtains. That's what I'll show you, my messy closet. But it's not really messy. It's kind of organized. Everything's labeled, and I know where everything is. So, but anyway, it got all over the curtains, so I had to wash them, and it was a mess. It took me about an hour after the live, to get it all taken care of. Okay, so I'm going to bring you back down, and I'm going to use a pencil to just kind of freehand his eyes. A tip for you if you're not good at doing eyes, if they intimidate you, because the eyes can definitely make or break a piece. I think when you're doing something that has a face, the eyes are the most important thing to me because they can make it, and eyebrows. Depending, I've got some videos way back that will show you, depending on the way you do eyebrows, your piece can either look happy if you point the eyebrows down in a downward motion. He can look very, very angry. So you want to pay attention to how you're doing the eyes. And what I would suggest is look at coloring books, greeting cards. You can go on Pinterest now, and they'll have all kinds of eyes that you can just trace on using the graphite paper. So you don't have to know how to freehand them, but once you start doing them enough that way, then you will be able to freehand them. Okay, so let's bring you back down. Hi, Robin. So all of you on here, please tell me that this is if this is your first time, because I got several new followers this week, and we want to welcome you and say hi to you. Let us know where you're from. And let's get back down here and get at it. Y'all know I'm so slow anyway, so I have to kind of stay with it. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of, no pun intended, eyeball where the eyeball goes. So I'm just going to kind of do an oval a little bit. And sometimes I don't get it just right, and I will go ahead and erase it and start it again. Now the eye's going to be black, so the pencil mark's not going to show. And then the back side doesn't stick out as much. It just kind of comes down a little bit. Okay, so that is right almost in the middle of his mustache. So I'm going to come right over here. Make sure that's dry before I stick my hand in it. And let's see, I think I did it this way on the other one so I could see. I did it upside down so I could see where this one was. So started it right about there. Okay. I think that was a little bit low. So let me go up just a little more. Round it out and then just kind of come straight down. And around you go. Okay, so that's pretty even. I think it's even enough that we can get away with it. So let's go ahead and get our black, and then we're going to have eyebrows up here. We're going to get to do the fun stuff with his beard here in just a second. So just Deco Art Lamp Black. Deco Art. And you can use any color black. I use different brands of paint. I do find that Deco Art does cover much better than most. Okay, let's use the round brush that I had a minute ago doing the eyes. And it's actually a liner, but it's a little bit thicker liner brush. And it's plaid, and it's a number 1. So I'm just going to load on the edge and just fill it in. And I'm pressing down and just reloading it. I am so ready to get started on, I love painting snowmen. And I like to do like pine trees around the snowman. Okay, let me round that out just a little more. There we go. All right, I'm going to turn it upside down so that I'm not laying my hand in that wet paint there. And just round about. So I've been working on getting laundry done today for the trip. And am I the only one like this? But when I'm going on a trip, if I leave my house not in order, I want to clean it, and I clean things that I might not have cleaned in 10 years. But when we're going on a trip, on vacation or anywhere, my house, I have to leave it clean, or I just don't enjoy the trip. I want to come back to a clean house. So I've been really trying to get things cleaned, but it's been so busy. And we were gone off and on all last week. And with the remodel going on, it's been kind of hard. Okay, we've got pretty much everything base coated. So we're going to go in and do his beard. Now again on this one, base coated it good white and then just took a pouncing brush. I just call it I have a smaller one, but here's a pretty big one. Scruffy brush, chip brush, whatever you've got that you can just pounce on and give it a little bit of texture. That's what we did on that one. But I want to try something different with the rake brush. I am going to go ahead and base coat just a little bit of gray. This is Anita's Antique Nickel Gray underneath while those eyes are drying. Okay, take that back. I need to do his cheeks right quick before we run out, before this dries. So let's get some of that floating medium on there. And we're going to get our base color on the bottom. And that rose color. And we're going to blend it right in that same spot. Get a little more of that gel on there. And we'll just make him some little cheeks right quick. And I'm just going to go right up to the eyeball, and we're going to do kind of like we did his nose, just a half U. Make sure I got enough of that medium on there. There we go. Just under it. I'm going to get a little more of our base color on there to soften that up. Okay, and then just smooth that out. Same thing on the other one. I'm reloading. And I'm twirling. Brush got a little bit dry. Paint's drying on me. Let me show you. See how it's breaking up the paint? Didn't have enough moisture in it. So you can get too much or you can have not enough. Okay, and then I'm just going to smooth that base coat color down. Alrighty. Okay, let's put just a very thin layer of this gray. I'm going to do it on his mustache and then on his beard. And this is an experiment for me, so I don't know how this is going to turn out. Y'all know I've been getting a little brave lately. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm keeping it real. Okay, so I'm just going to put a very thin coat of this gray so it will show through when we do the whiskers. Because we're going to go over it with white. And I'm not going to, I've really thinned the paint out. I've just got some really watered down here. And just following the shape of the mustache. And just filling it in. So I don't care that the white is showing underneath, that it's not a full coverage. and let's do the other side. Standing it up on the chisel edge. Okay, so see how streaked it is? And that's just fine because we're going to go over it with some white. Okay, let's go ahead and bring his beard down. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and float with a full on with that gray. So we need a little bit of white on the bottom and the gray, and blend it in. Okay, and let's go ahead and just, we're going to float. Well, actually, that's not dark enough. Let me get my baby white, and we'll get a little bit darker gray. Okay, see what that baby white did? As long as it's still wet, it's like it never happened. So always have you some baby wipes on hand. Okay, I'm going to grab a darker. Now, I could add a drop of black to that and darken it. Well, we do have black out. Let's just go ahead and do that because we've still got our wet black here. So I'm going to put just a little bit in that gray, and we'll just make our own color. And as you can see, it does not take much black to completely change a color. Okay, so let's do that again. Need some more blending gel. Just twirl it in there and get it in there. Okay, so we need the white. I had to think what we were doing here. That darker gray now. Okay, that's just enough dark that I think it should separate it okay. And I'm just reblending it for the other side. Okay, and I think that will separate it enough. So I'm gonna get some white here. And again, I'm just kind of experimenting, so we're gonna see how it works. I'm gonna use a fan brush, and I'm not gonna put any moisture on it. We're just gonna kind of dry brush it, get it on, and then get it off. And if this doesn't work, then we'll get a liner brush and we'll just kind of make some little swirls. Okay, so that's giving it a good base, but I do think I will go over it with the liner brush too, just to get some more white in it. Just following the curve of his mustache. Just kind of dipping it in there. Okay, I'm going to take my liner brush and put a little bit thicker lines on there, on top of that. And just right in that corner, and just wispy, wispy, wispy. And I'm letting them crisscross. Okay, and I'm going to let some just kind of come up over his face. And it's just layer on top of layer. But you want to leave some of that gray showing because it really makes the white pop. Okay, so I'm going to turn it upside down to do this one. Thinning out my paint just a little bit. I love Santas. When we do Christmas, used to upstairs and downstairs, but now it's mostly just downstairs. But I take everything off the walls, just like we are moving. Everything is bare, and everything Christmas goes up. Okay, and this you just kind of have to play around with it till you get it like you want it. But he's looking pretty Santa-y. Sometimes I'll do it and then I'll walk away, come back and look at it, add something to it. Okay, I think that looks mustachy enough. Kind of cover up a little more of that gray. Okay, now for the undercoat here. Let's go ahead and streak some gray down. That, oops, not the dark gray. Just a regular gray. And we are getting so close. So again, with my fan brush, we're just going to streak some gray on there. We've already kind of got some underneath here because of the brown on the piece. Underneath that white. So just kind of giving it a base. And I'm just kind of dipping it in and then getting it off. Swirling it out, getting right up to where that dark gray was that we floated with. If I can get right up to it, I'm just kind of pouncing now. Trying to be careful and not get it on his face. Really working it in. Right up to that face, but try not to get on it. Okay, let's put a little bit more over here because I got it kind of dark there. And right now it just looks dirty, but we're going to fix that. Okay, so we got it pretty much base coated in that gray, enough that the white streaks are going to show through. Let's try just using this fan brush and see what we get with the white. This is just kind of a trial and error. So I'm doing the same thing, putting it on, pulling it off. And then we're also going to do some little swirls with our liner. Okay, putting it on, taking it off. Just a little bit more. Okay, you're starting to see the difference. Just kind of layer on top of layer. Getting some text messages there. Thanks, Robin. When do I use the blending gel? I use it if my paint starts kind of dragging and breaking up when I'm shading and floating, shading and highlighting, which is floating. I'll add a little bit of that blending gel, and it just kind of helps thin your paint out and helps it to really flow across your piece. So mainly when I am floating. Okay, so this is going out this way, this is going out this way. And you're hearing it really on that wood because I am basically just almost just dry brushing. Okay, let's see what he looks like there. Just a little more white. When it comes to whites, the Undercoat white, I think covers better. It's a little more expensive. Like this little bottle's $5.99 at Hobby Lobby. I try to wait until they have it on sale. But I just think the coverage is a little bit better with it than the others. But everybody has their own preference. This rake brush is awesome to do grass. To just flick it up and it just looks so real, the grass does, when you do it with this. I've got a live, I don't remember what it's titled, doing just that, showing you how to use it to do grass. Let's put just a little bit. Just right in there. Okay, let's go ahead and do with our liner brush. And let's add a few little swirls. Just to get a little more white on there. I've got just a little bit here. Now I do like to, when I'm going to okay, so just kind of wisping it out and reloading after about each one. And it's not a real harsh detail. I mean, it just doesn't just jump out at you, but you can definitely see it. And it does just add another dimension to it. Now this would not show up if we didn't have that gray underneath it. Do long ones, short ones, just like a normal beard would be. All different lengths. And then we're going to finish his little eyes and put the fur on. And we'll be done. And then I will use Matte Finish Mod Podge to seal him. Now if it were going to be outside, I would use something different. I would use a spray. Let's see if we've got that pretty even there. I'm going to do some short ones here under his mouth. Kind of hard for me to see with that light. Okay, I'm adding a little more white just over that gray to kind of soften it up a little bit, because that was pretty harsh. I can still see it, and it still separates the mustache from the beard. Oh goodness, I could just do this forever. Gotta find a stopping spot. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish up his eyes. Let me get, I want a very tiny liner brush. Look at all of my brushes. I have so many brushes to choose from. All of these, and then I have some more that I don't even have out here. But I like them on my little twirly things. So that I've got like all of the flat brushes are in one section. All of the oval brushes are in one. My base coat's in a separate section. And then I've got another one over here. And then I have all of my favorite cups. There's one with my business name on it. Those are my favorite brushes that I keep in that one. So it may look like chaos, but I know where everything is. So it really, really helps. So let me get, we're going to do some eyelashes. So I want a very tiny little liner brush. I don't know if you can see. Very, very, very tiny. Okay, so let's do some lining on him, some eyelashes. And then we're also going to shade, let's do that first actually. Forgot we haven't shaded his, inside his eyes. We want to put a little bit of blue on the inside of his eyeball. My twirly turned back around here. So I'm using a very small little flat brush. And we're going to use the Deco Art, and it's Colonial Blue. I love that for inside of eyes. It's just a really pretty color. It's also a very pretty sky color. And it's not going to take much at all. It's a very tiny little, it's kind of drying out on me. Okay, so I'm going to use that very small little brush. I got it moist in some water. And we're going to get just a tad of black and get most of it off, and then get some blue on it. There we go. Okay, and just on the inside of the eye and on the outside of this eye. Okay, I'm going to get a little more blue. I'm going to put a little more of that floating gel, blending gel on there, because that paint's a little bit dry. And you just want to round it with the curve. Okay, and let's do the inside of that one. I am just barely getting it on the end. That little blob that came out is very dry. And just working it in. Okay, so let me see if that's pretty even. Let me kind of blend this one in just a little more. Let me get a little more black on it. Okay, so that blended it just enough there. See where I laid the little tiny brush. There it is. Okay, so eyelashes. I'm going to water that black down a little bit. Going to twirl it. And some water drips there. Okay, so we're just going to flick it out. A long one, a short one, a long one, a short one. Kind of clean that up right there. Now the eyebrows are, normally I would do a little eyebrow, but they're going to be white. So we don't want to put any black there. We'll put a tad bit of the gray just to give it an underlay. Okay, so a long one and a short one. a long one and a short one. And again, the harder you press down, the fatter your strokes are going to be. So we want this one to come up. I have to turn it upside down. And a short one. And another short one. I ran out of paint on that one. Ooh, got that one really thick. Okay, now let's put some little sparkles in his eye. And for that, I'm going to use a doctor, not my daughter, but a doctor. And we're going to use some white. I call them Dippin' Dots. So I'm going to use the smaller end of it, and we'll see what that looks like. And this is just kind of the twinkle in his eye. Now I do snowman eyes different for the insides. So up at the top, and then kind of catty-cornered. Same direction on the other one. Top left, and then catty-cornered. Okay, so let's get a little bit of gray. Let's decide where we're going to want his eyebrows. And let's put just a tad of that gray on there so our eyebrows will show up. All right, let me wash that out right quick. Let me grab a little scruffy brush. Scruffy brush just means it's kind of, the bristles have gotten stiff. And you've kind of let paint dry in it, maybe on purpose, maybe by accident, really doesn't matter. But just something that you can use, you're not going to mind hurting the bristles. That's what you're going to use it for. So we've got the underlay of the gray. And then I'm just going to load my brush, no water. Just going to pounce it in there. And then we're just going to pounce it on. And I'm kind of going back and forth to make sure I cover that gray. And it's kind of hard. I know you're not going to be able to see the gray underlay with it, but it does give it some dimension. It does show up. Okay, let's do with a larger scruffy brush. Let's see what we've got here. It's not actually a scruffy. Let's see what we get with this one. A little bit bigger. Stiff brushes. There's also a mop brush that we may use on it, but on this I'm going to go ahead and we'll try this. So I'm just pouncing it on. And then I'm just going to go in a circular motion. immediately it looks like fur on there. And I'm going back and forth, around. Okay. Now let's do his hat brim. And we're just going to start about a little bit smaller down here, like it's kind of going down and getting smaller as you go down. So I'm going to kind of mark it off. And then we're going to do a little bit of gray outlining on this to kind of separate it. I don't want to get in his eyebrow, but I do want to come down over that face line. And I'm not getting it off of this because I do want some texture to it. I don't want it completely even. You want some maybe up, some down. Just a little taller here. And where his face line was, I'm kind of putting a little bit thicker just to kind of cover that. I'm just going to set that aside. I'm not even going to wash it yet. And let's do some little highlight lines on his hat. Let's do just a little highlight on his nose. Okay, I'm going to dry the fur real quick so that we can put a little bit of gray to show some separation. And then on his eyebrows, I'm going to do some little wispies like we've got down here right quick. Now they're hard to see unless you're close up to it, but it makes it look a little more like hair. Okay, so let's add a little bit of gray around the tassel here. And I do want to put a little more white right there. I don't want much of that red showing through. Okay, so I'm just going to use our gray that we used as an undercoat. And we'll just kind of do some little squigglies here. Basically just some comma strokes. Just to give it some separation. Okay, lightening it up a little bit. Okay, I think we can call him done. And I did it in under 2 hours. Okay, so let's look at the different techniques on both of them. I've got two more different things, completely different, that we're going to do with these. I've got, I think, a dozen of these Dollar Tree hearts, so I've got a couple more ideas that we're going to do with them. There's so many different things that you can do. So this is the pounced on beard, and he's got glitter all over him. Okay, and this is the wispy with a gray underlay. I did not do a gray underlay on that other one. So it just gives it just a completely different look. But you're basically doing the same thing. And I don't know if you can see the blue in his eyes, but it does show up really well on it. I just don't know if you can see it on camera, but it does give him some pretty blue eyes. So let me back up here. We started with Dollar Tree heart. We now have a Santa. Got two Santa. I could paint Santas all day. And I used to be terrified of trying to paint a Santa. So you got two different techniques, but still two cuties. I'll show you another one that I did. This little guy is about 3 feet tall, and he's on a base. And he was a fireplace screen. There were 4 of them connected with hinges, and I found them at a flea market, and they literally looked like aliens from outer space. They were scary. They looked like, I don't have a picture of it, but they literally looked like something from another world, and they were scary, and no child at all would have. I mean, they didn't even look like Santas, but it was $10 for the 4, and I thought, I can split those and sell them, and I kept myself one. But my husband, when he saw me looking at that, and he said, what on earth are you thinking about, and what are you going to do with that? I said, no, look. I said, don't you see Santa? And he said, no, that's not what I see. And because it didn't look like a Santa, and the lady was like, what are you going to do with this? You know, I didn't think it would sell. And so anyway, this is what I did. I sold the other 3. I paid $10 for the 4. They were connected. I had to disconnect them. I had to really sand them. But the other 3, I kept this one for myself. But the other 3, I sold for $40 each. So score. But that's been about 10 to 15 years ago. Well, actually, no. Let's see. It was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It was 8 years ago, because I did it in 2013. And that was really the first Santa that I ever painted. So I really enjoyed it. And I did the fur pretty much like we did tonight. I did take the rake brush and kind of flick it out on his sleeves, just to give it more of a fur look. But that's him. So we are in Santa season already for July, and I'm enjoying every second of it. So not sure what else I'll paint, if I'll be able to get on here again before we leave for vacation. I've got a few things that might not take very long if I can get everything ready for my company that's coming this weekend, all my kiddos and my mom. And we're just going to have such a good time. Wish you were here to eat homemade ice cream with us. I love making homemade ice cream. And the kids absolutely enjoy it so much. So that's what we will be doing. But wish you were here. If you have any question about, you know, tonight's tutorial, what I used, what I did, how we did it, if you just weren't sure or if you couldn't see it well enough, don't ever hesitate to message me. I will do my very best to get back to you. If you will please sprinkle the love, means Facebook does not want us using the word S-H-A-R-E for some reason. Hi, Rhonda. So if you will just sprinkle and let everybody know about this, and please let them know about the event in August. August the 1st is the deadline. Go back to the beginning of the video, and I did some explaining on that. If you have any questions at all about that, my phone number's on there. You can call me, you can text me, you can private message me, whatever you need to do. But I would love to have you. Hi, Vicki. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and y'all have a great, great evening. Thanks a lot.